Hello, this is Miss Brown. Today we'll be discussing bacteria. Now, bacteria are by far the most numerous organisms on Earth, and we discover new bacteria quite regularly to add to the numbers. And I know you hear about bacteria often, and you often think of bacteria in a negative light, but we require some bacteria to survive as humans and as organisms on this earth. So let's look at our organizer, and of course number one is bacteria are the most numerous organisms on earth. Now the old 5 kingdom of classification you may hear of put all bacteria in kingdom Monera, and as we learned about in our taxonomy unit, that has been changed. So now we have bacteria divided into 2 groups because they're 2 very different organisms. We have kingdom Archaeobacteria, number 3A, and 3B we have Eubacteria. Now, these archaeobacteria live in very harsh environments, number 4, such as the extremes of heat, pH range, and salinity. As a matter of fact, most of them live on the floor of the ocean and never see the light of day. Now, what do they have in common? Number 5, all bacteria are prokaryotic. And number 6, all bacteria are unicellular. And that's almost the only thing that archaeobacteria and eubacteria have in common here. So let's look at 7. If you're a traditional learner, you can use your book on page 541 to help you. If not, we'll just do this together. Let's look at number 7, the picture. A is the cell membrane. B is the nucleoid region of DNA. C is the cell wall. D are the ribosomes, and E is the cytoplasm. Now, as we see in the picture, number 8, some bacteria have flagella for locomotion to help them get around. Some have capsules to protect them on the outside, and some of them actually have endospores that help them kind of go dormant when things aren't really good, and they can come back to living their best life when things are more hospitable for them. All right, now bacteria are grouped according to their shape. So you can label these coccus, those are spheres. Bacillus are the rods, and spirillum are the spiral. And they can also live in colonies. There's not a place to write this down, but I thought you might find it interesting. Diplo means they're in groups of 2. Di means 2. You've often heard of streptococcus. So strep throat is caused by a streptococcus bacteria. And coccus means it's spheres, and strep means it's in a long chain. And then staphylococcus or staphylobacillus. You've heard of staph infection. Staph means it's in a cluster, kind of like grapes. So you put one word in front, which tells about the colony, and one word second that tells about the shape. Now, number 11, some are autotrophs. They can make their own food by photosynthesis using the sun, or those tough archaeobacteria we talked about that are chemosynthetic, and they actually use chemicals from inside the earth to make their food. Or some of them are heterotrophs, and those are your parasites and decomposers. So let's look on the back, 13. Parasitic bacteria require a living host, while decomposers break down and recycle dead and decaying matter. Imagine what this earth would be like if we didn't have decomposing bacteria. Think of all the dead bodies from all the thousands of years, and the dead leaves and the dead trees that would need to be broken down. So we'd be in quite a mess without that. All right, on 14, aerobic bacteria require oxygen to live, while anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen. Now, reproduction, you all know about the asexual type, which is binary fission. It's an asexual reproductive process. It just splits in 2, and the mother cell makes 2 daughter cells exactly like the mother cell. But bacteria also can have a sexual type of reproduction, 16, called conjugation. And it's where they're close together and they actually exchange some of their DNA. They trade DNA. So this gives more variety to the bacteria. So 17 is no wrong answer. You choose. Do you consider bacteria to be more helpful or more harmful? And just circle your answer, whatever you think. Okay, and here's some you can list. List these, please. Helpful: decomposers, photosynthesizers, food products, things like a yogurt, sour cream, some drinks, some alcoholic beverages, antibiotics, probiotics, nitrogen cyclers, and genetic engineering. And under harmful, there are some germs that are bad, like the streptococcus bacteria. Many of you have had strep throat. They cause infections. They cause your cavities, and it's what causes most all of our food to spoil. So you can stop the video there and fill that in. All right, moving on to 19. Disease-causing bacteria are called pathogens, and they live on a host. Some of these can be treated with antibiotics, and like you may have heard about in the news, many of our antibiotics are not good on some bacteria now. We have become resistant. There's one, I remember when my daughters were little and they would be sick and have an ear infection. There was one they would give them, the child, remember, it tasted like bubble gum, the antibiotic, and I remember a doctor saying that doesn't even work on anything anymore. We have to move up to something stronger. And sometimes that can become a problem if you can't find one that's strong enough to work on it. All right, 21 lists 3 bacterial infections that are familiar to you. So just pick 3 of these that you may have heard of. I know you've all heard of strep throat. If you're taking health with Coach Fricks, I know you've heard of salmonella and gonorrhea. So after you find your 3, I want you to use the internet and find facts about one of those that interest you at the bottom on page 22. Thank you.